being foisted on the British Muslim community. Again, from extreme right parties who massacred, thought the massacre of Hindus in Bangladesh. And Martin and I were saying is that it's conservative think tanks, particularly Policy Exchange, who just leap on you. And they say, come on, Martin, anti-fascist politics now. You make alliances, anyone who's a democratic conservative. Whereas the Fabians, Demos, aren't thinking about it and aren't finding, if you like, the Muslim trade unionists in Britain, the Muslim socialists, helping them get organised and what have you. So maybe you're right. I don't know. In relation
to Cameron in general. Do you think Cameron's feeling some sort of breach?
I think what Cameron's doing is simply this. There was a percentage of the British middle class, of the English middle class, getting nowhere in Scotland, the English middle class, particularly women, not just women though, who somehow thought if they took their rubbish out to be recycled, or bought organic food, the Tory party was sneering at them. They were natural conservatives in every other respect. It was in their interest to vote conservative, and Cameron, rather sensibly, is getting them to vote for his party again. Whether I can't make any judgment on whether he will be
spoken like a true feminist.
I can't make any judgment on whether he'll be, softer on marijuana or do anything in the environment. I just see a sort of vacuity there. But again, that's maybe my problem. This type of politician is a type that gets ahead in the television age.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I enjoyed it immensely. And I've read your book, Nick.
Good. You pay for it?
No, I didn't pay for it.
But I give Murdoch his money.
I donated the money to somebody else rather than Rupert Murdoch, your publisher, which says something. You started by saying that socialism was dead, interestingly, at the beginning, and then went on to define a credo based around ideas of socialism. But I don't want to get bogged down in that. It seems to me that there's a lot of nostalgia in your book for an idea of the left that I'm not sure ever really existed. And what I want to ask you specifically is what were the victories of the anti-Stalinist internationalist left between the Spanish Civil War and the present day? What were those victories exactly? And what is your view of an internationalist left wing? On what will it be predicated? What are the values and the institutions on which this, rather than just having a chat and a cup of tea with a trained unionist from somewhere, what is it? Because what I detect in your book is a paucity of any real ideology other than erecting an idea of Islamofascism to be contrary to. And what I want to know is what are your positive values, your positive international institutions? What is this ideology of the left to which those of us who find it very, very hard to subscribe to your position on the Iraq War are so painfully derelict and not belonging to? Why do we get condemned as postmodernist moral relativists, whereas we may just be involved in a genuine, set of real confusions to which there are no easy answers? What are your easy answers?
Well, I don't know. God knows what it's like at the breakfast table at the All-Self household. It was
play this all the time.
So sorry. All right, okay. Look, first of all, the main triumph for Britain of the anti-Stalinist independent left was the 1945 Labour government, which was left-wing and anti-Stalinist to a T.
And what was its international victories exactly? Did it defeat the Communist terrorists in Malaya?
It's just impossible to keep up with your bloody family. It's just question after question. It's sort of, speech after speech. Positive values. Positive
international institutions. What do you
right. I would say the main concern for any serious left at the moment would be globalising labour rights. So that, for instance, you would not, you should oppose China being in WTO on actually perfectly good free market principles, that countries that ban a free market in labour, ban free trade unions, are as much erecting a barrier to trade as opposing a tariff war. I would say that is the overwhelming concern for anyone who is serious about left-wing politics, is ensuring that the benefits of globalisation do not go to countries which deny rights to their citizens and allow them, if you like, in market terms, an unfair advantage.
So do you believe in the free movement of labour throughout the world?
I don't think that's possible. I do believe in equal labour rights. Free movement of labour happens anyway in the long run, but I don't think no government would survive it allowed completely open borders.
It might be the kind of leftist flag you might like.
No, which I'm talking about trying to improve conditions for people in their own countries.
So they've got to stay where they are they?
Well, you shouldn't just want to.
No, but this is just a sort of contradiction in you're the person who's erecting themselves as being somebody who is examining what's wrong with the left. Now I'm asking you for some positive views.
Well, I'm just giving you one.
Positive views are running into the sand.
I'm just giving you one. I'm saying that no one should be. The countries should not be allowed the benefits of globalisation, most notably under the WTO, but also under the IMF and the World Bank, if they use the suppression of labour as in effect a tariff barrier.
Okay, fine. So what about international intervention? What should be the criteria for intervening in the activities of other sovereign states?
I find it. I agree with the UN Genocide Convention. When a country commits genocide, it loses its Westphalian protection.
Okay.
Now, whether you can then intervene to stop genocide is a highly difficult political matter, which I agree the Iraq War has made far worse from my side of the argument. But I don't think that people like Saddam Hussein should be allowed to commit genocide, and once it's over, saying, "Hey, fine, you're a happy member of the international community." I don't. I think that there are crimes against humanity on a huge scale. You set the bar very high that a sovereign state loses its sovereignty over.
Just a quick observation rather than a question. Maybe one place where I think British socialism had a very positive effect on another country may be the German trade union movement, which is built by British people along, avoiding some of the mistakes which are made by British trade unions, which are quite obvious. I think that's a system which still thrives quite well even to this day, and certainly has 50 years of very good performance behind it.
I mean, what I keep trying to tell people this is not people trying to make this book far bigger than you have to be thousands of volumes to fill some of the expectations of it. I mean, one thing I find very worrying and very open to question at the moment, I mean, European social democracy seems very vulnerable to me at the moment. Perhaps I'm being over-pessimistic, but the welfare states of Europe, including ours, which is far more social democratic than people in this country give credence to. In France, in Germany, in Italy in particular, it all feels, the positive achievements of the 20th century look frightfully vulnerable. And it's going to be very interesting the next few years to see how well they can stand up, see if they can keep competitive economies going.
Although you have things like the UNICEF report last week, which suggested that as far as welfare is concerned, it's Britain and America that are doing worst of all the developed countries.
Yeah, I mean, but in Britain, see, in a funny way, the 1997 Labour government has been quite Labour in some ways. There has been vast public spending increases. There's been
perhaps not always in the right places.
Well,
social housing.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make, Deborah. Is you can't and on redistribution of wealth. Now, if that fails,
well, the lack of social housing has helped to redistribute wealth upwards.
But if that fails, if people are able to say, very powerful arguments in politics is, oh, Deborah, I know you want this. I know you want more money spent on education. But look, we tried it and it didn't work. I mean, if that fails, I think that the British social democracy is in a lot of trouble because there will have been a lot of money spent, not on social housing, but there have been. You can't deny there's been huge amounts spent on health and schools, and if that doesn't produce results, then I think what comes after it, whether it's called New Labour or Tories, will be quite a right-wing government by 20th century standards.
Well, I mean, we're getting into a big area here because I could talk about where the money has gone on health, and it has gone on overinflated salaries for GPs. It has gone on computer systems that don't work that well. And now people are saying are never ever going to get up and running. a lot of the problem with the large amounts of money that Labour has put into certain parts of the welfare state